You're here already? Well, let's get started. Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Linear Algebra. My name is Bryce Christopherson. I'm going to be your professor for this semester. I'm happy you're all here with me today, even though we're virtual. I will do my best to make sure that this virtual experience is as fun and easy as possible, while still maintaining a high level of rigor that lets you learn linear algebra to a true and complete degree of mastery. So, a little bit of background. I'm Bryce Christopherson. I joined the department here about a year and a half ago. Before that, I was working in the defense industry down in Los Angeles. And before that, I was teaching at the University of Wyoming, where I got my PhD. If you ever want to chat about research, hit me up. We could talk about that more sometime if you wanted. But for now, let's get into the class and let's start talking about all the cool stuff we're going to do this semester. So, on to it. Let's see. Here, you will see the Blackboard landing page. I'm assuming everyone knows how to get to Blackboard, since you kind of have to get to this video in the first place and see the announcement where it's posted. So if you go to the Courses tab, you will see something that either looks like this, or if you have your layout slightly different, it would look like, let's see, oops. Well, there's there we go. Yeah, it would look like this maybe, or like this. If you see that, you will see our class here. It says Online Math 442 Linear Algebra. If you click on it, you'll get right to the class, and I will open it in Student Preview so everyone can see it the same way that you will. Now, you'll see an announcement here, the welcome announcement. I obviously haven't posted it yet since I'm recording the video right now for it, but this is where you'll land when you click into the class. And this first page will have the announcements. I will post lectures in announcements. You'll be able to find them in other parts of the class too. We'll go through that. We'll go through the navigation and everything that you can find here. But this is the your one-stop shop to figure out what is going on in linear algebra and to receive communications from me. So if you look over here on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see a couple of different items. I've tried to arrange this in as easy a way as possible. First up is announcements. That's what we got. Second up is faculty. It's got some contact information, office hours, etc., links to my page, emails, and all that stuff. The next one is syllabus and schedule. This is an important page. This page has all the stuff we need for our class. So it's got the syllabus and the course schedule posted right here. And we will go through that very shortly together. So let's leave it alone for the moment. But just so you know, you can always access it here. We'll talk about the course schedule momentarily, but you can see that we have every day planned out, all the homework due dates listed in advance, all the lecture topics listed in advance, and everything like that. You can always check it there. Any updates or changes to the schedule will be reflected in changes to what is posted on the course syllabus and schedule page here on Blackboard. Up next, you will see a week-by-week tab. This is essentially your checklist for each week. So since we're online, it can be kind of difficult to coordinate yourself a little bit. At least that's what I found with students working online. So having a week-by-week roadmap is useful, I think. So let's click into week 1 right here. And it starts off with a to-do. I've tried to keep these relatively brief, so it's not like some giant, overwhelming list of things, just a couple of links and a short list. So this week it says that we should review the syllabus and schedule, watch the introduction lecture, which you're doing right now, read section 1A of the textbook, watch the section 1A lecture, watch the optional additional lecture video if you want some more clarification. We'll talk about that again in a little bit. Read section 1B of the textbook, section 1B lecture, watch the additional section 1B lecture, and start working on homework 1. So if you do all those things, you will be truly set up to get an A in the course. I imagine that people may not necessarily do every one of those things, but I try to spell out exactly what you should do to get the absolute most out of the course. Maybe you just watch lectures and you only review the textbook as needed. Certainly a lot of people do that. I I can't blame you for it. People have a lot to do. There's a lot on most people's plates. So, all right, I would encourage you to try to read the textbook. We'll talk about the textbook more momentarily, but I really want to stress that if you want to do really well in this class and have a very easy time of it, I encourage you to do all of the things in the to-do list every week. I try to pace out when you should start working on homeworks, when you should start studying for things in the week by week pretty well. If you look back, I only have up through week 7 right now, largely because I want to see how fast we progress through lectures initially, so I don't have to change weeks 8 through 15 or whatever. If we go a little bit more slowly or a little bit quicker these first few weeks. So lectures, this page, the next tab here, this is where you will find the video lectures for the course. Right now, it currently looks empty since I haven't posted this first introduction lecture. But as lectures are posted, I will send an announcement, which you'll see in the announcements tab. And then I will also post the lecture here for easy access. Up next is Dr. Axler's slides and videos. Dr. Axler, Sheldon Axler, is the author of the textbook, and he has very nicely made freely available video lectures and slides for every section of the textbook pretty much. So I have broken it down chapter by chapter, section by section. If you want an alternate perspective or some additional review of material and you don't want to listen to me talk, here is another option. So if you click on the attached files for any one of these, you will see slides. And these are the slides from Dr. Axler's lectures. So you can go through those on your own if you'd like, or you can go through them with Dr. Axler as you watch one of his YouTube videos. So he's got nice lectures there. We will cover those lectures separately. I'm not just posting someone else's lectures and leaving the class alone, but I figured it would be nice to have those as an option. So everything is here. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about the textbook now. So speaking of Dr. Axler, Sheldon Axler wrote a paper back in the day called Down with Determinants that I have posted on this textbook page. It is a scathing rebuke of the way that linear algebra is usually taught. Basically, Dr. Axler's perspective is that we should not focus so much on determinants when we are getting into linear algebra. That is, determinants are frequently non-intuitive and defined without motivation, as he says, and we should try to do something else since we don't actually need them to prove most of the core building block pieces of linear algebra. So he wrote a textbook, Doing It Right Without Determinants, called Linear Algebra Done Right. Wonderfully, the 4th edition of the textbook is available free of charge online. So if you click the link right underneath this first part about the book, if you click on the link right after that, you will find the textbook in its entirety, open access, free, online, a PDF of it. So it's got nice things that books don't have, like clickable links. So if you want to go to a section, you can just click right over to it. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. If you are reading through a section, you can see if they reference a previous theorem, you'll be able to click back to it immediately. What a wonderful, useful feature, and amazing that he's made this textbook available for free. So we will use that. I also have broken down the textbook chapter by chapter, which might be helpful if you don't want to scroll through everything. So if you go to textbooks, scroll down right underneath the link to the textbook, and you click chapter by chapter, there are all chapters here, and I've broken them down into each section, so you can click on a specific section. It should open it up. There you go, a PDF of just that section only. So that's a slightly faster way to review everything for the book and access things. There's also another file underneath called Linear Algebra Abridged. It was made from the 3rd edition of the textbook, and it was done by taking the 3rd edition and essentially cutting out all of the proofs, examples, and exercises and comments and things like that. So it's just the core statements of the main results and their definitions. It is much shorter than the full textbook, though it is based on a previous version of the book, which is slightly different. So if you want to review things, that is a great kind of compact way to do it and a potentially useful resource. And yeah. So I should mention I was a class tester last year for this 4th edition. So before it was released, I class tested it last year to kind of get a sense of it. And Dr. Axler has since made lots of different improvements and upgrades to the class and or to the textbook, and hopefully this will translate into even more improvements and upgrades to this class. I very much enjoyed it last time I tested it. It is by far, in my opinion, the absolute best linear algebra textbook for this level. Yeah. So there's the textbook. I really encourage you to read it. I really, really, really think that it is fantastically readable, well written, concise, not hard to understand, and will make everything much clearer. So on to the part that people are, I'm guessing, worried about or concerned about or have the most questions about, the homework section. So if you go to the homework tab over in the navigation, you will find all of the homework for the class. I have posted it all already. So you could conceivably begin working on your homework right now and do all of it and be done. So if you go to the homework tab, you will find the homeworks. Click on one of them. It will give you a link to a PDF with the homework, the due date's on there. The due date is also in Blackboard right here. It's got the points possible. They all have the same number of points. And when you're done, you do the homework, write it up, type it in LaTeX, whatever you prefer. I'm not very picky at all about how you decide to submit it, as long as you submit it in a way that is not horrendously difficult for me to read. You can upload files, take a scan of your handwritten document, take individual high quality pictures of each page, whatever you prefer. If you take pictures of each page, I do encourage you, please, to merge them together in a PDF. It makes my life much easier if I don't have to sort through pages. And if you don't, at least number the pages, please. That would be very, very good. But yeah, so you can submit your files that way, and that will be how you turn in your homework. I can leave comments on there and give you scores on there. And when you look at your grades, the next thing on the navigation menu, you will get grades, and as you go through the course, you will, be able to follow how you're doing. So speaking of grades, we should go on to the syllabus now to talk about how you'll be evaluated in this course. The rest of the links are important. We will touch on them later, but they are not necessarily as relevant to our class. So there are just some standard links to student support service, tech support, so on, ways to get help with the class, ways to get help with technology. The UND Selfie link will, Selfie, I don't know how to pronounce it, will let you evaluate the course much later on. But yeah, these are not as relevant to the actual content of the class. So let's get on to the syllabus, and I will mention some of those links again a little bit later. So the syllabus, if you go back to the syllabus and you click on it, you download it, you open it up somehow, just read it here, whatever you prefer. I will open it in a separate tab so we can see it a little bit better. You will get this document. So you are in the online section of this course, or you are maybe one of the people in the in-class section of this course watching this video for some reason. But basically the idea is that there is an online section and an in-person section, and what I will endeavor to do is essentially make them go at exactly the same pace and basically cover exactly the same things. So people online get as complete and normal an experience as possible, of course, with things modified for online. In this document, which I encourage you to review, most people don't actually look at the syllabus, and I understand why. They're full of boilerplate. But in this document, you'll find basically everything you need to know in terms of what we will do in this course, how you will be evaluated, how you will be graded, and so on. The basics, it tells you what's in the syllabus. It tells you the prerequisites. If you are in this class watching this video right now, you have either satisfied them or I have waived them for you. The textbook, we already talked about it. We've got a link to it right here. It's also available on Blackboard. You could also just Google it. There you go. If you want a physical copy, you can buy a physical copy. I believe you can get one on Amazon for very cheap, but you don't need to do this. The course description tells you what we're going to cover. I hope you already know what you're in for if you've signed up for this class. We will get into all of the things that we cover as we cover them. In terms of course material, there's the textbook. You all already have that in PDF form, just by merit of being in this class. And then it may be helpful to have a calculator or a computer occasionally as you are doing problems. No one likes to do all multiplications or divisions or so on by hand. It can be nice to have a machine for things like that, though I suppose you could if you wanted to. Blackboard. All the materials in this class will be posted to Blackboard. Any updates and changes will also be posted to Blackboard, and I will try to keep everything as consistent and nice in Blackboard as possible. I've hopefully made it relatively simple. I don't want to have like a bazillion different tabs and pages and everything, but I do want it to be complete and have lots of resources for you. So if you have any suggestions for additional resources I could provide or other things I could put on Blackboard, please let me know. I am trying to make the online version of this class as nice for people as possible. So Blackboard, there you go. Grade. This is the part I imagine everyone cares about. So there are 3 exams and then there's homework. All of them have equal weight, and there are 13 homeworks. So each homework is 10 points, 130 points from 13 homeworks. I have made the exams the exact same number of points as all of the homeworks combined each. And so that gives them 25% of your grade each. And yeah, I tell the sections that are covered on each exam. We will talk about that a little bit more once we get down to the schedule section. Grading will generally follow the usual scheme of 10% chunks, 90 to 100's an A, 80 to 90's a B, and so on. I will round up in borderline cases. I am not a stickler for like a 0.5% or something like that, or even 1%. That can translate to like a single question on an exam or something. So don't worry, you won't have to grovel or freak out or have like a panic attack because you're 0.5% away from an A or something. Incompletes, I will try not to award any completes, but if something comes up that, for example, takes you out of the class for a long time and you need extra time, we'll handle that as needed. I am not necessarily against doing this, but I prefer to not do it when possible. Of course, that is something that we'll cross that bridge if and when it comes up. Exams. All exams are going to be naturally take-home exams. 1, because we're online, so that makes more sense. And 2, because it is very difficult during a 1 or 2 hour block or something like that to ask any particularly challenging questions. That is, at this level, a lot of the questions we'll ask will take a relatively large amount of thinking to solve. You'll probably try a few different things and have to kind of work on it for a while. So by doing take-home exams, I will be able to ask much more challenging and interesting questions. It'll also hopefully be slightly less stressful for you, since you'll know you have enough time to actually engage with the material, solve it, and show me what you know. And that kind of brings us to perhaps the my philosophy of grading and teaching. By the way, before I do that, I guess I should touch on this next item of makeup exams. Since they're take-homes, hopefully no one has some makeup. But if for some reason you have to be out for like a week or something, or part of the take-home period, let me know. We can work something out. But you have to let me know in advance. If you're trying to pull something, I will probably not be sympathetic. Anyways, back to the general philosophy I have for teaching and grading. My big central kind of idea for all of this is that I want you to feel like the only thing that is being assessed in this class is your understanding and mastery of the subject matter. I don't want you to feel like you are getting a bad grade or not the grade you want because of some sort of a technicality, a due date, something like that. I want the only thing that your grade, I want the only thing reflected in your grade to be your mastery of linear algebra itself. So for that reason, while I will really try to keep everybody in line with due dates and everything like that, and while I will be strict on exam due dates, obviously, since it would be kind of unfair to let people take as long as they wanted on exams, I am relatively flexible with late assignments. I understand that things come up, maybe you're working, maybe you've got kids, I don't know. There are many different things that go on that can take a otherwise well-intentioned, completion date for an assignment and push it back a little bit. And I don't want those things to detract from your engagement with the course material. So if you are late on an assignment, please don't just give up or throw it away or not finish it. Turn it in. I will give you full credit as long as it is, within the course dates. I hope that you don't turn in too many assignments late, but if you have to turn in some late, that is essentially fine with me. I like to tell people this up front, even though sometimes it leads to some problems. Some people hear me say this and go, oh, okay, so I can just do all the homework the last week of class. And the answer is that, like, conceivably, I guess you theoretically could, but no one has ever done that. If you fall behind on homework, you usually end up failing the class. That almost always happens. Don't fall behind on homework. I can't stress that enough. Pretend that I am not nice about due dates. But I like to be honest about this instead of pretending that I'm very strict on due dates and then making lots of exceptions, because that basically ends up just favoring people who would ask for exceptions and not favoring people who, I don't know, maybe have some more of a sense of like integrity and don't want to ask for that or something. So yeah, if you have to turn something in late, that's fine with me, but I hope you try to avoid that as much as possible. So back to the syllabus. Okay. Homework, yeah. So there are 13 homework assignments. I do reserve the right, I guess, technically to not take late assignments. I probably will not exercise that unless it seems like there's like a very good reason to do so. Like, for example, if you ask me to not take late assignments because you know you'll abuse it, okay, then I'll do that, sure, whatever you prefer. But generally, I'll be kind of nice about it. Please try to stick to the course schedule in terms of due dates. I will pretend that I'm not nice about it to some extent. But you should know that I really am fine with late assignments. Please don't skip them or something like that. Do as many of the problems as you can. I picked them because I think they're good for your development as a mathematician. Extra credit, there may occasionally be extra credit problems or something to that effect. I wouldn't expect it to significantly change your final score, but it can provide nice little bumps. Usually, basically, it just gives you an enriching opportunity to practice the material even more, which will make your life easier because you'll understand what's going on in the class even better than you did. Attendance, since this is online, attendance is basically equivalent to watching videos. So my policy for that is basically the same as if you were in an in-person class, which is that you don't have to, but if you don't, I won't really have very much sympathy for you if you're doing if you're having a hard time in the class. After all, I'm not, just talking to hear myself talk. I hopefully am at least doing something useful or helpful here. So please do watch the videos. I have many different resources available to you on Blackboard. There are alternate explanations. You can always Google a topic we're talking about to get yet even more explanations. There are many wonderful resources out there on the internet, far too many for me to list. Attend the lectures in terms of watching the videos. And if you prefer not to, then at least do some sort of an equivalent thing, like watch someone else explain it, whether it's Dr. Axler or some other YouTube channel or whatever you prefer. Getting helps. One of the things that will probably happen at some point in this course is you will get stuck on something or you won't understand something. It happens to a lot of people. It is normal. It is part of doing mathematics. You will encounter things that you think are easy. You will encounter things that you think are hard. That is normal. That is part of this. So what you should do in this case is you should get help instead of just giving up, throwing up your hands, or consigning yourself to not understanding something. You should figure out what is going on, figure out the thing you don't understand, and progress. So one of the easiest ways to do that is study groups. Meet with your classmates digitally, in person, whatever you prefer. Send emails, talk to each other. This is not against the rules. You should do this. Don't do this on exams. That's not appropriate. But on homework problems and stuff like that, you can discuss with each other. Don't turn in exactly duplicate work or something. Or if you do work on a problem together and come up with exactly the same solution, please reference that in your submission so I know that one of you didn't just copy it. You should also look for office hours. My office hours are listed at the top of the document. If you happen to be on campus, you can go to my office hours in room 321 Monday and Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Obviously, excluding today since class is not, or excluding the first day of class since it has not technically started yet, and no one would know what the office hours are before I give out the syllabus. So, if you are not on campus, like I imagine many or some of you may be, then in that case, my office hours are by appointment, since that's probably more convenient. So if you, let me see, if you go in the course Blackboard to faculty, I believe this should be here. Ooh, I may have to change this. There is a link that you will be able to get to. Here, let me pull this up in a separate page. I will point you to this. I will add a link to the faculty page for this. But it will let you book appointments with me. So here, sorry, this is loading somewhat slowly. Here we are. Okay. And it will look like this. It says Bryce Christopherson's booking page. You can book with me here, meet with Bryce Christopherson. I schedule it in 30-minute blocks. We can go longer if needed, and you can pick any date. You can pick the availability. I keep my calendar up to date. So if you have something that you need, just schedule it. Hopefully you can do so with like at least a little bit of lead time. And we can meet digitally via Zoom. I'll send you a Zoom link and we can chat about any problems you have. Hopefully that is easier than trying to attend some sort of a virtual office hour that is held every week at exactly the same time, since that it is hard to find a time that works for everybody. So that hopefully this gives you a little bit more flexibility. But yeah, so office hours by appointment, stop by my office, whatever you prefer. I'm here to help. I like to help. And if you have a problem with something, just ask me. You can also just send me an email. I love to answer problems via email. It is often easier in many ways than answering them through a video call or something like that. Just, if you're struggling on problem 6 of the homework or something, send me an email that says, hey, I can't figure out problem 6. Here's what I've tried to kind of briefly summarize the idea of it. And I will give you good hints, explain where you went wrong, what parts you're doing right. And then you can, refer to that email and ask more questions and all that stuff. And yeah, I normally am very fast with responding to emails. So hopefully people use that. There's also UND's student services, and UND cares a lot about how you do. There's testing services, tutoring and learning services, the writing center, the student resources webpage. I encourage you to look at all of these things. Make sure that you get the help you need. Yeah. And if you feel like you're not getting the help you need, just let me know and I can point you towards the places that you should go to figure out what you need. And academic integrity. Academic integrity is, of course, something that everyone cares about. Please, for the love of God, don't cheat. I hate dealing with the amount of paperwork and headache that comes with people cheating. I will, of course, give you a 0. I may, depending on how egregious the cheating is, give you a 0 in the course. Don't cheat. It's not that bad. Since I'm not super strict on due dates, there's no reason to do it unless you're just, trying to be dishonest and have the grade you get in the course not reflect your level of understanding of the material, which is that is my job to stop that. So don't cheat. I will pursue it if you do. The disability statement. If you need any accommodations, I encourage you to work with DSS, and I will do whatever I can to accommodate you. And course evaluations near the end of the semester, you will be asked to complete an online course evaluation that you can access on the Blackboard page right here at the UND Selfie link right there. I will send an announcement reminding everyone to do this. This is very important to me. I love to get your feedback. Normally, people only leave feedback if they really love the course or really hate it. Neither of those things are particularly useful. If you get, yeah, I loved it. It's really nice. It makes you feel good. Or if you get this was the worst class I ever took, it feels bad. But unless it comes with some sort of actual constructive criticism, there's very little I can do with that. So if you liked part of the courses and didn't like part of the courses, something like that, if you're if you have any feelings at all about the course, please let me know. The more specific, the better. The more I can do to help, the better. The more you tell me, the more I can do to fix things and make things better for students in the future. There are additional syllabi statements that I have opted not to include in this document since this document is long enough as it is, and you can check those out at the Office of the Provost webpage that is linked right here. Grading rubric, I have included a grading rubric with general kinds of criteria in terms of how I grade. I won't like be going through each assignment and every problem and checking off this rubric, but this is generally a good guide and something that we can refer to if someone disputes a grade. So if you turn in some question on an exam and you say, I think I did better than this, you gave me 50% on this, I think I did at least a 75% point work, then we'll look at the grading rubric and try to see if you have a good case for that. So this hopefully should be a nice kind of light guide for what good written mathematics looks like, and also in many ways it is just kind of a way for me to cover my butt and have something to point to if people disagree with the grading. After all, I have a thing right here in the syllabus telling you how you'll be graded. So general kind of broad strokes criteria in terms of what I'm looking for. The course schedule. What are we covering in this course? Well, quite a lot of different things. We're going to cover basically every chapter of the textbook to some extent. Today we are doing the intro, and we will touch on section 1A, which I will post in a separate video. So the first little chunk, piece by piece, is the lectures. The lectures are the first line of each day. And then there are due dates, which are in bold. And for the first part of the class, they are all on Fridays. And then after the second exam, or around the second exam, there will be a homework due on Wednesday, and then the rest of them will be due on Monday. So basically up until Easter break, everything is due on Fridays. It's pretty much every week, with the exception of spring break and the week of the first exam. And then after Easter break, an assignment is due before the second exam. And then after that, everything is on Mondays except for the last day of class. So yeah, there we go. The first exam will be on February 15th. As you can see, there is almost an entire week for you to work on that exam. The same is true for the later exams. Exam 2 has almost an entire week for you. And the final exam has an entire 5-day week during finals week for you. So hopefully that should give you a good amount of time to do the exams. Like I said, the goal isn't to stress you out. It's to give you enough time to truly demonstrate to me what you know about linear algebra. The homeworks, usually it will be the case that you have about a full week to work on a homework in terms of, all the homework's already posted, so you have the entire duration of the class to work on all of the homeworks. But in terms of our coverage of the material, usually for a homework, we will cover the material on that homework by a week before its due date. That is not always the case, but it is generally pretty much a good rule of thumb. So start working on homeworks as early as possible. If you wait until the night before it's due, we'll have gone over the material on that homework kind of a long time ago. But if you wait, so you should kind of go through it as we go through the class. That is the idea of it. Like if you look at homework 1, section 1A, after we finish our section 1A lecture, I encourage you to go try doing the section 1A problems so you do it while it's fresh in your mind. You can, of course, leave it if you want. It's up to you, but I think that is a much easier way to do things. They're not terribly long. Most of them are just a single page with a number of problems. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So there you go. That's basically the syllabus and the structure of the class and what we will be doing. All in all, I think that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me an email. Book a time with me to chat. I look forward to meeting all of you digitally to some extent as I read and evaluate your work and yeah, I will post the next lecture very soon, and that will be the beginning of our content for linear algebra. So, see you next time.